Hey everybody, it's Denise with Denise McDonald Fitness. Hope you're having a great day. Hey, I thought I would just come to you guys real quick. I know some of you were following me last week, the past 2 weeks, about just certain tips I've been giving as we age and we start feeling like we're getting older, but we don't want to be older. And I wanted to recommend this book that I read a couple of years ago. Actually, when you see the book, you'll see I've probably read it a few times. But it was a book that someone had recommended, and I just thought it was kind of right up my alley as far as what I was trying to achieve in my own life. But I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's called Younger Next Year. There's a female version, which I found interesting, and there's a male version. So maybe if you guys have had it, or you've seen it before, you might know what I'm talking about. But it's written by a doctor. Actually, it's co-authored by a doctor and one of his patients. And this doctor actually lived in the Boston area, and he was of the mind that he just kept seeing patients for years at a time. He would have the same patients for like 20 or 30 years. But what he was finding was he was seeing that at an early age, his patients were really dealing with heart disease and diabetes and strokes and just certain illnesses that he felt they shouldn't have to be dealing with at the age they were. So he actually had this one patient called Chris Crowley, who he basically told him, you're healthy, you actually are healthier for your age, but you've got 40 pounds to lose, and if you want to age and really be active in your older years, what he likes to call the next third of your life, then you've got to work out, you got to do something now to change if you want to be better. So he worked with this guy. He ended up losing 40 pounds. He was so active. He was biking and everything, and they became friends, and they kind of collaborated on this book. And it's an awesome read. And it's actually for people that are, 50, 60, 70 years old. But when you read it, it's going to make so much sense to you that you're going to maybe give a double take to what you're doing with your life. It kind of reminded me, being a nurse, I took care of a lot of older people in my life. And I used to take care of this woman, and I would take her to the doctors. And she was in her 90s. And I thought fairly healthy for a 90-year-old. And her doctor had seen her for years, probably 40, 50 years. He was her physician. And he said, I love when you come to see me because you in your generation of 90-year-olds, almost healthier than people that I'm seeing in their 20s and 30s. And I kind of looked at him and I said, really? Are you seeing that in your practice? And he said, yes. Unfortunately, I used to see people come in with diabetes and heart disease and cancer in their 50s and 60s, and now I'm seeing it in their 20s and 30s, and it's alarming. And it just made me really think, it is getting to be a little outrageous. So I almost kept thinking about this book, and I said to him, have you read Younger Next Year? And he said, yeah, I actually know the doctor that wrote that. So I ended up, having to read it again, and it just makes a lot of sense. So I think what I'll do is, I'm going to try to maybe point out this week just certain things in the book that really struck a chord with me. One thing he says too is that like 70% of aging really is not necessary. Like you think about it, like we don't necessarily have to get old and our bones are breaking and we're poor balance and no flexibility and losing muscle tone. It isn't really necessary. And I think it's something, if you start early enough, that it can be, we can lead these really awesome lives into 80, 90 years old. Sometimes you see like older people in the news, like, oh, he's 100 and he's running, well, why can't we all be doing that? So I think it's something to, think about. If you don't have the book, really strongly recommend getting it. And the difference is, with the female version, that they go into a little bit about menopause. So if you're getting to be that age where you're going to be doing that, that was a great chapter. But it basically is, he says, live strong, fit, and sexy until you're 80 or beyond. Who doesn't want that? So I'm going to probably as the week goes on, I'll point out some more tips of things that I like. But if anyone's read the book and you have comments, post below. I'd love to hear them. And I'll add some more info into my blog. But hey, what's wrong with us trying to be fit and happy and healthy as long as we can? I always say, as a nurse, I worked in a nursing home, for many years. And I always tell people, I'm like, you know what? I've worked in enough nursing homes that I never want to be a resident of one. And that's always my goal, is to be 100 and kayaking and hiking and doing whatever I want. And, there's never a guarantee, but if I can work on that and my husband can work on that, then, it just makes the thought of our life being a little bit more happier and not dealing with illness. So, all right, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful night. I'll post this later. I'll post a blog up about some other thoughts, and I hope it helps. So I hope you have a great night and stay healthy. Talk to you soon. Bye.